Hi, everybody. September 26th, the market update desk, the last full week of September, and it is the start of the Ryder Cup in golf. I'm a big fan of golf. That's the every 2 years competition between the Euros and the United States. And the United States did not get off to a good start today. DeChambeau crushed one on the opening tee, but after that, didn't do so well. In fact, we're down 0-3 right now in the first part of today. So the big news today on the financial aspect is we got PCE, personal consumption expenditure. That's the Fed's favorite gauge or measure of inflation. Showed that headline inflation rose 0.3 in August, just a small 1/10 tick above the forecast. On an annual basis, the rate ticked up from 2.6 to 2.7, but that was matching the market estimates and forecasts. Core PCE, which excludes the volatile food and energy, and is a factor that's a little more closely watched by the Fed, rose 0.2 and year over year held at 2.9%, both in line with what the market was forecasting. The 3 month run rate for core PCE was 2.9%, and the 6 month was at 2.48%. So that ticked down slightly. Shelter still kicked us in the backside. So in shelter portion today, that rose 0.36 last month and 3.9% year over year. Rents rose 0.3%. Owner's equivalent rent again came in on the warm side at 0.38%. Now, if we used once again a more real time indicator showing the blended rate, which we've seen in multiple data reports of about 2.5%, that weighting would bring shelter back down to would it within the shelter would bring year over year core PC down to about 2.6%, which would look a lot better. So hopefully at some point we can get some matching up with, especially owner's equivalent rent, but shelter cost in general, matching with what the actual real time market is doing. Now, October, as we look ahead, it's going to be a month that we're going to have some tough headwind going into the PCE report, as the replacement number from last year was a pretty low 0.28. So if we come in at 0.3 or above, we'll lose a little bit of traction year over year. Now, on the positive side, personal incomes rose 0.4, spending rose 0.6. Both came in about 1/10 higher than the market had planned for. Now, that caused the savings rate in conjunction to move from 4.8% to 4.2% because we had that little higher spending in place. The other information that's going on the national level is the congressional potential shutdown. So if Congress does not pass a funding bill by the 1st next week, the government's going to shut down at least the areas that they call non-essential. That may impact many of the economic reports we receive. So we're going to see how this is going to play out. Historically, during shutdowns, the Congress decides whether or not to fund the BLS through the shutdown. So we don't know if that's going to incur, if that's going to happen or not, because technically they're non-essential. Now, the deadline on Wednesday means that we'll likely still get the JOLTS report, the ADP report, but the BLS report next Friday is going to be a sticking point. We don't know if we're going to get that, and the markets may not like that and get a little volatile. So as we look to next week, we get pending home sales on Monday. We get JOLTS report on Tuesday, ADP on Wednesday, along with mortgage applications. Thursday brings jobless claims. Maybe we don't know because of the BLS, and then potentially Friday the BLS report. The variable about if we'll get these numbers next week is going to create volatility, like we talked about. So next week I'm a little bit nervous about as far as the market. Now the 10-year Treasury ticked up 4 ticks so far today to 4.1969. We're battling this range of about 6 basis points on either side of where we're at right now. It'd be nice to get back down below 4.12 because then that would act as a top line resistance, but I don't think we're going to see that, especially with the important numbers coming out next week and how many of those data points we're going to get next week. So it's a great weekend to buy a house. Yeah, I always say it, but we're going to have, 80 degrees out. It's going to be a great time to go out and buy. We're going to be on call all weekend, 616-293-2189, the Market Update Desk, your original singular market news source for West Michigan. Go USA in the Ryder Cup. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.